Alright, my name is Spencer Hurst, and this is my Emily Dickinson poem analysis. I'll be doing the poem There Is Another Sky. What we're going to do is we're going to read through it first, and then we're going to go ahead and annotate it line by line. So let's go ahead and read it. There is another sky, there is another sky, ever serene and fair, and there is another sunshine, though it be darkness there. Never mind faded forest Austin, never mind silent fields. Here is a little forest, whose leaf is ever green. Here is a brighter garden, where not a frost has been. It is unfading flowers. I hear the bright bee hum. Prithee, my brother, into my garden come. So that was the poem right there, and we're going to go ahead and annotate this line right here. Annotate these two lines actually because they're the same lines. This is there is another sky, there is another sky. And as you can see, the another sky would probably be referred to as heaven. Once you start reading this poem, you're thinking, simple, it's probably just something else. It's, it's a forest, but you start realizing that it actually means something greater, maybe the afterlife, some place that she obviously likes more and better. And the another sky is going to be referred to as her afterlife or heaven. And I'm actually going to use the biblical reference of heaven, the Bible, just because it is really easy to reference, and there's actually kind of clues in here that lead me to believe it is a Bible reference. So right here you can see that this is capitalized, another sky, and then this another sky down here on the second line is not capitalized. What I get out of that is that the another sky is really trying to be emphasized at first, and then she's trying to kind of put it off. It's not as important in the second line, so maybe she's kind of having a mood change. Here is this all capitalized, great looking. When you see something real official and documented, it is usually always capitalized, where it's appropriate to be capitalized. Right here it's not, and that's kind of odd right there. I don't really know how to depict that, but what I'm getting out of it is she's not thinking as much about it from lines 1 to 2. So we'll go on to line 3 right here and see if we can make more sense out of it. Ever serene and fair. So she's still supportive of it. She really likes it. Maybe the first sky, there's another sky and then there's the first sky. I guess the first sky would be referred to as the living life, and the another sky would be referred to as the afterlife. Maybe the first sky is not ever serene and fair. Maybe it's dull and boring, and maybe she wants to be there. She wants to be in the another sky. Let's go ahead and read on. And there is another sunshine. Whenever you see kind of movies or books, sunshine is always referred to as something holy, something bigger, something greater, something you want to go towards. So what I was thinking is it's the light of Jesus, and I'm not really sure if that's a set in stone Bible thing, but whenever you see someone going up to heaven in the movies or in a cartoon, there's a light that shines upon them, and they do their thing, and they actually go up to heaven through the light. So they always say find the light. So that's what I'm getting out of that. The another sunshine is the light of Jesus, or the light of going into heaven, going into the afterlife. I put a little picture right here, a little sunshine. Now let's go on to the next line. It is though it be darkness there. So what I'm thinking is she doesn't know what the darkness is. What is that? Nobody knows about what's in the afterlife, because how can you be in the afterlife if you're living? The afterlife is for dead people, so nobody knows what it is. It's a dark image. No one knows. Let's go on to the next line. Never mind faded forest Austin. That's kind of a tongue twister. So she's trying to describe how don't mind we don't know about it. And I had to actually look up who Austin was. I didn't know if it was a biblical reference or anything, but it's actually one of her spouses, William Austin Dickinson. It is her husband, and he died after she made this poem, and so she's trying to say, don't mind the faded forest Austin, it's going to be good. So she's trying to get him to come along with her to this afterlife. Never mind silent fields. So silent fields were referred to as kind of like the the greatness of nature. You know, a silent field is kind of blissful and great. So I guess she's trying to say that don't mind that it might be great here. It might be great in the during life when you're living. You know, there are some great things about living. But she's trying to say that the afterlife is actually a lot better. So right here, I kind of put a line right here for tone shift, and this is where it kind of shifts into, it's talking about it's kind of talking about the living, and then down here it's talking about what it's going to be like in the afterlife. She's kind of finally realizing it's coming. And this little annotation right here is her she tends to repeat words to kind of emphasize them. It's almost like an alliteration, but of two lines. So she's really trying to kind of just never mind, never mind. So that's her point. There is. That's her point. She's really emphasizing those quite a lot. Here is a little forest. We're going to go on to the next line. I got out of that is the little forest is kind of a place of mystery, and she's kind of getting towards it. She's leading up to what she wants to say, whose leaf is evergreen. So I kind of put evergreen leaves. Here these forests up here are faded forests, but these forests down here are always evergreen. So you got to think brightful, colorful. So she's really supporting the idea of, the afterlife and what's going to be ahead of her. Let's go on to the next line. Here is a brighter garden. And right when I saw the word garden, it really triggered that this is definitely a biblical reference, because here there's another sky and then the garden, so I have to think it's the Garden of Eden. That's what she's referring to of. It's always bright in the Garden of Eden. It's a very beautiful place, and that's what she's trying to get to. I guess that's her image of the afterlife or heaven, where not a frost has been. So that definitely kind of seals up the point that it is the Garden of Eden, because the Garden of Eden was really never touched. It was this kind of unscathed place that was never really, it was just so perfect, and now it's in the afterlife, and she wants to be there. She wants to be in a place that's not torn up by humans or corrupted like the world she's in right now. She's appealing as she's thinking that the world right now is really scathed and just not how she likes it. In the Garden of Eden or the afterlife definitely seems like the better option now, because it is perfect, it is unscathed, it is just a clear image in her mind. And it's unfading flowers. So as you can see right here, the faded forest, so fading, it's always going to be perfect no matter what she does. She could destroy the place and it will still be perfect. It will still come back and be perfect. Unlike on the living world, things fade off. Structures come, humans come and manipulate it to however they like it, and nature kind of fades off. But in the afterlife, it's not going to fade off. I hear the bright bee hum. So this is actually really kind of odd how she used a bee, but I guess bees are in gardens. And what I got out of it is she hears her inner mind. So the bright bee is kind of referred to as her inner mind, and she's finally hearing, hey, let's go on with these plans. Let's finally go into the afterlife. Let's be into there. And she's kind of accepting her death. So I assume this poem was probably written around the time she was going to die. I'm not too sure the origin of the poem, and I don't really want to look it up because I want to have my own thoughts and opinions about it. But it might be a time in which she thought she might pass away, and this poem is kind of representing her accepting it. Prithee, my brother, into my garden. We're going to bunch these two together. I had to look up the word prithee, and prithee is actually kind of like an exclamation saying, hey, come, come, come. So now she's full and on board. She really wants to go in the afterlife. She really wants to experience this. And her brother, I'm thinking, is Austin. She's calling she's calling him her brother just for the fact that, we're all brothers and sisters in a sense that, in heaven, that's how they refer to us as. Think of your neighbor. thou shalt not hurt your neighbor. Something of that nature is kind of being depicted right here. She's thinking of Austen as her brother, or William Austen Dickinson as her brother. Into my garden come. So finally come into heaven. Her garden is her afterlife. Her garden with the sky, with the great forest, her Garden of Eden, she wants to finally go into. So she's really on board, and she really wants to go. She's just actually almost excited to go to this afterlife and just be there, and she feels it's going to be her best option and be a great living experience. So that's basically it right there. That's the poem. So you can see the tone shift right here. It is actually it's pretty prominent. It's nothing from negative to positive. It's more of her going from being a little more passive to being way more active about her opinions. She was real passive right here. She's just kind of trying to convince her husband to come along, and then the tone shift happens, and she starts really coming on board. She describes all the great qualities, and she's really on board for the adventure of going to the afterlife. The theme of it is really to always accept different routes. She really wants to try something new. The theme is really that the afterlife might not be anything bad at all. Don't be afraid of death. Kind of embrace it. It's supposed to be a better time than when you're living. She's trying to say it's supposed to be actually a way better time, because this time is real corrupt, and it's really just, it's scathed, and people have ruined this perfect world that God initially created. And she's trying to say that the world after you die is the perfect spitting image of what you want. That will be your garden. You will be in a blissful state that you always want to be in. So the connection that I get out of this is, there's a lot of things out there, and always really kind of keep in mind that, never be afraid to die, never be afraid not to live. Always kind of really just embrace the moment, because the people who are afraid of dying, or afraid of, it doesn't have to be even dying, afraid of doing things, afraid of actually living their lives out, are having those scarred, unwanted lives. The people who want to live their life and feel life to the fullest are going to be the ones who are really the successful ones and find inner bliss. So just be positive, be happy, be really ambitious with your life, and you'll find bliss, and you'll find an inner self peace to yourself. So that's basically the whole thing right there. There's my deep sentimental part, and that's the poem right there. That is the Emily Dickinson There's Another Sky. I hope I annotated it well for you guys, and you get it a lot better. That's about it. Thanks for watching, and bye.